Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's a new week, and yet we are still here together. It's Monday, and we have an opportunity to make space between us, make space in our day. It's amazing to see how many weeks we've been going. We've been going since the 1st of Heshvan, since October 6th. And we're thrilled today to have Rabbi Dorothy Richmond, one of our yeshiva faculty, who's going to introduce our sit. I see many folks here who I know are enrolled in one or more yeshiva courses this fall. And I want to make sure everyone knows that if you're not yet enrolled in a course or you're thinking of adding a course, we would love to have you. We have a variety of fall courses, including a fabulous one with Rabbi Dorothy Richmond on the topic of Talmud as spell book and mindful eating. Any course you register for, you can access the videos and you can see the classes that already had their first or second meeting, and you can continue with the class. Our classes also feature opportunities to connect with your classmates on Slack, and it's a really special way, especially if you're far away from your classmates in physical cellular levels, to stay connected on many other levels. I'm putting a link in the chat, and I now turn the mic over to Rabbi Dorothy Richmond.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Ari. It's wonderful to have this oasis of practice together and a little bit of learning. Um, that beautiful song that you heard by Joey Weisenberg featuring Annette Hochberg is quoting the Song of Songs. Let me be a seal upon your heart, like the seal upon your hand, for love is fierce as death. Some translations say that love is mightier than death. Ki azah kamavet ha'ahava. I really want to be thinking about that and the truth of that we know in our own experience and in our own bodies. As we begin this week of Chaye Sarah, the Torah portion that is often translated as the lives of Sarah. And in some ways, this is seen as quite ironic because what happens as soon as they say the lives of Sarah is she dies. They're introducing her death. But I think it's actually not ironic at all. I think it's actually teaching us the truth that a person's influence often continues on beyond their death and continues to live as a real presence in people's lives and dynamically even affecting events. So, for example, there's a major scene right after her death of Abraham buying land for her burial that has tremendous implications for land and the connection to the land of Canaan, Israel. And then at the end of the fifth Aliyah, after we've seen a huge drama over finding Isaac a wife, it's said that he brings his wife Rivka into the tent of his mother Sarah, and she was his wife. And then it says, "Vati lo leisha v'yavea v'nachem Yitzchak acharei imo," that when he loves her, it's in his loving of her that he finds comfort after his mother's death. So we can see that even as he's marrying and starting a new life with his wife, it's in the tent of Sarah, of his mother, and his thoughts. His experience is still, in many ways, if not defined, then influenced by this relationship with his mother who's no longer living. I think many of us know from our own lives how just because a person dies, it doesn't mean the relationship ends. We still hear their voices. We still are influenced by them in all ways. And so I'd like for us during this sit to be able to practice with this truth that love is stronger than death, and that people continue to be in our lives in important ways, even after they die. So I'd like to invite you into a comfortable position, however you're standing, sitting, or lying down, just in a position that you will be comfortable to maintain without really needing to change for the next little bit. I'd like to invite you, if it's your practice, to close your eyes or to cast your gaze down into a soft gaze. I'd like to invite you just to breathe into the truth of this moment. I'd like to suggest, as we practice with recognizing all the lives that are in us, all the life that is in us as we dynamically breathe, sometimes it helps to remember just how rooted we are. Rooted like a tree, perhaps, deep roots beneath the earth, roots that you can't see anymore, that aren't visible, and that yet still bring life. And so we'll open our attention to our own roots, to the places where our body meets the chair or the ground or the floor. We can feel the support against our tush or our legs or our feet. We can imagine ourselves rooted, tendrils of our body sinking down below into our seat, our feet into the ground. We can imagine our cells bearing memories of resilience and blessing and love from our ancestors. We can check in with the flow of energy in our body. Of course, sometimes it helps to remember how new we are. Each moment, breath by breath, a new breath, dynamic in us, bringing in oxygen. We are fresh and refreshed, like perhaps the unseen green sprout of growth about to break through in a wooden branch. Take a moment just to focus on the truth of our breath, enlivening us in this moment, making us new. And yet also this very breath that we are breathing, a shared breath among the trees and other creatures of the earth, also connecting us deeply across boundaries. As a living part of the creaturely community. We might imagine as the breath is inhaled and exhaled, that love itself is flowing through us, freshening us, rooting us, allowing us to become in every moment as we continue to practice. It's probable that our attention will become distracted by thoughts of the past, plans for the future. And right now, perhaps we can set an intention, just when we notice that this is happening, to welcome it gently, maybe even with humor. It happened again. Okay. And then we'll allow ourselves to return our focus to this breath, to this sensation of the body, knowing at any moment, at every moment, we are both rooted and reaching as we continue to practice. We'll practice. שימני כחותם על ליבך, כחותם על זרועך, כי עזק מוות האהבה, קשה כשול קנאה. The poet Yehuda Amichai teaches, when a person dies, they say they were gathered unto their ancestors. As long as they are alive, their ancestors are gathered within them, each cell of their body and soul, a delegate from one of theirs thousands of ancestors since the beginning of time. We are the living receptacles of centuries of love. May our practice today together be of benefit to us, be of benefit to our ancestors, of benefit to the living around us, and of benefit to those who are to follow us. Thank you for joining us and being a part of this community today.